I believe in the supreme worth of the individual and his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe that every right implies a responsibility, and every opportunity an obligation, every possession a duty. I believe that the law was made for man and not man for the law, that government is the servant of the people and not their master. I believe in the dignity of labor, whether with head or hand, that the world owes no man a living, but that it owes every man an opportunity to make a living. I believe that thrift is essential to a well-ordered life, and that economy is a prime requisite of a sound financial security and future, whether in government, business, or personal affairs. I believe that the truth and justice are fundamental to an enduring social order. I believe that love is the greatest thing in the world, and that it alone can overcome hate, that right can and will triumph over might. John D. Rockefeller. I'm Chris Story on Top of the World here in Homer, Alaska, online on topoftheworldradio.com. Mr. David Webb is your engineer and producer all the way back up the mothership of KPEN and KGTL high atop Diamond Ridge. In a moment, I'll introduce you to Sarah Vance. She is with the Heartbeat of Homer. We'll be talking about the latest and greatest relative to the ACLU lawsuit against the citizens of Homer. Plus, we've got your Alaskan Mindbender question, TBC Radio Word of the Day. And did you know you were born to be rich? Whew. I get goosebumps every time I hear the anthem. I don't care if, even when it was the Dixie Chicks version, I haven't played that Dixie Chicks version in a while. Even their version gives me goosebumps. I absolutely could not love this country any more than I do. And what you don't know is during the program, when I play the anthem, I stand, I rise, I turn to the flag that is on my far west wall, and it's from my grandfather's library and study, and it is actually a small flag set inside of the Pledge of Allegiance, placard that he'd put into some sort of a little frame, and I've got that hanging here, and then a picture of him in his World War II bomber's uniform up on the far right cabinet here in my library and office. And I look at that, and I literally swell with pride for this country and for what it stands for, and for the red, white, and the blue. And I'm more optimistic about this country than maybe ever before in my adult lifetime, to paraphrase our former First Lady. It's time now for the Alaskan Mindbender. In a moment, we'll have Sarah Vance on the program. Blackwater Ben Espresso is not your average drip. Remember, they've got road food, gourmet food, coffee, and the best and friendliest baristas on earth. When good won't do, get Gourmet Brew at the Blackwater Ben Espresso. I want you to have an opportunity right now to go for free. As I said earlier, I'm reading this Peter Thiel book, 0 to 1. He makes an argument that Americans are less optimistic than we used to be, or at least he characterizes the net effect as being less definite relative to our optimism. My question for you, very simple, what say you? From the time, let's pick a time, the time you graduated or got out of high school to now, are the people around you more or less optimistic? The people around you, not necessarily just you, but the people around you, are they more or less optimistic? At 299-7653. Text in right now at 299-7653. Sarah Vance, welcome to the show with the Heartbeat of Homer. How are you doing?
Oh, it's great to be on the air with you again. You are indeed a patriot, and it's an honor to be on the show with you today.
I like how you're doing so far. I'm with you 100%. Very good. Well, Sarah, truly, though, you and many others with the Heartbeat of Homer ought to be, and I'm congratulating you now, win, lose, or draw in the court because of the absolute dedication to the people, to the idea that government is for man, not man for government, and or the other way around. The law is for man. And basically, I think what's happening here. I want to ask you though. First of all, how did it go in court yesterday? What was the tension in the room like? What were the arguments? Kind of give us a synopsis, if you will, of the ACLU lawsuit against the people.
Well, it went well. It's always a sobering time to step into a courtroom with a large bench with a judge presiding. Very humbling experience. But our city attorney, Eric Sanders, and Heartbeat attorney, Stacey Stone, represented very well. They presented the case in a very fair, legal manner. It didn't have an emotional appeal to it, because everything is straightforward from the law in our favor. There were 4 ACLU representatives there on the behalf of the plaintiffs, the 3 council members in question, who are in fact suing. I want to make it clear, it's not ACLU who's suing the city. It's the 3 council members who are suing the city. They are labeled as the plaintiffs in this case. And they only gave about a 10-minute presentation in their pleading their case before the judge. And so we were a little surprised that they didn't take more time to do that. If they had been my attorneys, I would have been asking for a refund after that show.
Let me ask you this. Were David Lewis, Don Adderhold, or Catriona Reynolds present, either of them?
Miss Adderhold was present in the back of the room.
Okay.
But there were no others there from the plaintiff's side.
And the judge has said that the decision will be handed down not later than close of business today.
Yes, and I'm sitting in front of my email waiting. I keep hitting the button saying, come on, give us the verdict. But we feel very confident about it that it should be favorable because it lays out in our state constitution that the recall process is part of the political process and that it is not against the Constitution. It did in no way violate the council members' freedom of speech. The recall process is not a government action restricting free speech, but the will of the voters in selecting who can adequately and ethically represent their interests. That's in our Constitution, and that's what was presented in the case yesterday.
You're listening to On Top of the World Radio. I'm Chris Story, joined by Sarah Vance with the Heartbeat of Homer, doing a recap here on the 3 council people, along with the ACLU, suing the city of Homer relative to the recall. Sarah, I want you to paint a picture for somebody who's either been out of town, say, for a couple of months, maybe 3 months, or new to this conversation and going, what are these people talking about? So what is the thumbnail sketch of what happened that led up to the quick gathering of signatures blindingly quick gathering of some 400 plus signatures to say, yes, we'd like these 3 council people recalled? What's that thumbnail sketch look like for somebody just returning from Aruba?
Well, back in February, an infamous day at City Council was that a sanctuary city resolution was quickly circulated over social media that was sponsored by Adderhold, Lewis, and Reynolds. Well, it was had a page and a half of whereas that was against President Trump, and then the rest of it had terms of creating Homer as a sanctuary city. Well, the majority of the people who came to that council meeting that night, more than 200 people were at council that night in opposition to Homer becoming a sanctuary city. And they said, no, that's not what we're doing. This is an inclusivity resolution, and that's what's on the table today. Well, what happened is a group of us said, wait a minute, wait, what's going on here? Because we had a sanctuary city resolution that was circulated. And then what was presented to us that night at council was called an inclusivity resolution, and it was essentially a rewrite. And we said, well, that's not honest. That's not the process of changing a document in council. What's going on? So we did a public records request of the council members' emails. And what we found was proof of them creating documents to make Homer a sanctuary city. And we said, this isn't honest. They have every right to bring a sanctuary city resolution to the table for the people. But what they did was very dishonest and trying to slip it through. And once everyone blew the whistle on it, they rewrote it and said, no, this is it, and tried to water it down. And we said, no, we cannot have this in our government. It's dishonest. You're trying to fool the people. And this is a matter of accountability. We want transparency from our elected officials. No matter what side of the spectrum you're on, this is what we require. And I thought it was interesting that you mentioned Rockefeller's love is going to be able to fix and repair things. And that's been a big topic among the people in Homer, is this heart and this, we won't accept hate. It's about love. And yes, it absolutely is, because you know what? Real love, true love, holds people accountable so that they won't continue to go down a bad road. And that's what we're doing today.
That's an excellent way to frame this. Let me just push back and play devil's advocate, Sarah Vance, and say to you that, and this is, by the way, has been posed to me on many occasions, Chris or Sarah, you guys you don't understand how legislation works clearly, because this is just how it goes. You go in with one set of ideals and ideas, and you mash them about as duly represented elected folk, and you come out with something different on the other side. That's just the way the sausage is made, Sarah. And you say?
You say no. Just because it's been done that way doesn't mean that it should be that way.
I love it. I agree.
I'm not willing to play that political game. You know what? I'm a mom. You know, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo citizen of Homer. I hate politics, but you know what? I hate lies and deception even more. And that's why I've decided to step in and be a part of Heartbeat of Homer, because it's giving us a voice again in this town that says, no, we're not going to carry on with business as usual. It shouldn't be done this way. And it's time that the buck stop here. We want to hold everyone accountable.
I love that. And here's the thing, and I've been hearing this, Sarah, from a lot of people that I think ought to know better when they say something to the effect of, that's just the way it goes. And I will pose back a position, say, that would absolutely cripple the mind of any left-leaning or liberal friend of mine. It just absolutely couldn't, they couldn't stomach the idea of the local city council talking about something of a particular nature that would go against the left's will. And I say to them, would you be comfortable with that being discussed behind closed doors, and then some sort of a watered-down, meted-out version coming over here with a completely different intent in its label and name? And I know they wouldn't be. And I appreciate your take on all of this. And I did come up with one analogy real quick. I'll share it with you, Sarah, is that I think this is akin to, you need to give your dog a pill. Everybody knows dogs don't take pills well. So what do? You put it inside of a little ball of peanut butter. They eat it down because peanut butter is too good to oppose. This, to me, was right. Sanctuary status, the poison pill, in my worldview, against the people stuck inside of a palatable piece of peanut butter, which called inclusivity, and it sounds too good to oppose. Who could be opposed to peanut butter?
Nobody wants to be exclusive. You know, we want to be accepting and inclusive. Yeah. But you know what? These council members have broken their trust with us as their constituents, and unfortunately, it's beyond repair. Heartbeat of Homer is prepared to take whatever actions necessary to ensure these three council members will no longer serve as our elected officials. The grounds for this recall have been lawfully established as administered by the city clerk. And this lawsuit of them suing us, that they swore on oath to honestly, faithfully, and impartially serve, that's in their oath. It proves them to be unfit for office. And we can't carry on with deception anymore. We need transparency in our government.
Sarah Vance, Heartbeat of Homer, found on Facebook, the Heartbeat of Homer. And Sarah, if somebody wants to have a conversation, maybe not social media is maybe not their thing, or websites, is there someone that they could call and would take a few minutes to walk through some of these things that you've shared with us?
Yes, absolutely. They can give me a call at 299-7368. We also have an email, heartbeatofhomer@gmail.com, that they can request to be on our list to keep updated.
I like that. Thank you, Sarah Vance. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Keep the heart beating. And do let me know, please, the moment you find out the verdict. We're all on pins and needles.
All right, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Sarah Vance with the Heartbeat of Homer. I'm Chris Story. Dave Webb and myself will be back with more, including the TBC Radio Word of the Day and the fact and the proof that you were born to be rich here on Top of the World. Be right back.